of all, to ask Professor Michael Farthing to take to the stage to welcome you on behalf of the university. Michael is the Vice-Chancellor of the university and has been hugely supportive both of the Department of Social Work and Social Care and also of our knowledge transfer project with the Newhaven Community Development Association. And in fact it was a meeting between Penny and Michael some years ago that started this all off. So Michael, welcome.
Susie, thank you very much indeed. And welcome all of you to the University of Sussex. And for those of you who work at the University of Sussex, well done for turning up to work today. It's a lovely day. And somebody did ask me first thing this morning, and said, "Oh, surprised to see you." I said, "Where do you think I'll be? On the beach?" Do come to work occasionally. Anyway, this is a fantastic event, and we are very, very grateful that that Newhaven gave us this opportunity, and I see it really as a very, very important opportunity for the university to do something outside the Falmouth campus. A lot of people ask us, what are universities for? What do they do? And I guess, in the last year or two, those questions have been asked on many, many occasions. Of course, what we're primarily here to do is to teach and help students to learn. That's our primary function. And as I say at graduation every single year, without our students, there would be no university. Universities don't exist without students. And I don't think all academics always get that somehow. But if you don't have students, then you're a research institute, and you're a very, very, very different animal. So teaching and learning is absolutely the heart of what we do. Alongside that, and we're one of 35 universities in the UK that has research at the heart of its teaching and learning. So all of our teachers are also researchers. And that means, and we believe, that being an active researcher brings a zest, an excitement, perhaps a bit of challenge to students who are learning, and just makes it a more exciting place. Because when you do research, you've got to slightly, I think, in this day and age, and we were just having some conversations over coffee, universities have to justify why they do research. Many of us have enjoyed, I think, over many, many years of being able to do the research that we want to do, so-called blue skies research. But increasingly, we are asked to be more accountable for what we do. And as a nation, we spend quite a lot of money on research. It's not as much as Tony Blair. Tony Blair wanted to spend 3% of GDP on research, and we're still on 1.6, 1.7% of GDP. Gordon Brown tried to be a bit more reasonable, as a sort of more careful Scotsman. He got it down to 2.5%, but we're still stuck on 1.6. So compared to many of our neighbours in Europe, I would still say we spend less on research than perhaps we ought to, particularly in a period of economic stagnation. But we have to justify what we do, and we do this in a number of ways. One is we always have in the back of our mind how we're going to translate that research into something really useful. And I guess my own background in medicine, we always thought about, if we were developing a new treatment or a new diagnostic test, how it was going to actually help people in the future. It's more difficult in some research areas to find that, but we are now required in this latest, what we call the Research Excellence Framework, to demonstrate how we are having an impact. And that's not an academic impact. That's not how many academics read the papers we have written. It's how has our research truly changed people's lives, truly changed the way society thinks about itself, the way in which we are, if you like, creating a much, much greener economy. How are those engineering developments really going to impact on the way in which we look towards energy in the future? And of course, one of the other ways, and increasingly this becomes more and more important, it isn't just what we do here on our own, it's what we do with partners. And sometimes you really open the very big doors of opportunity when you work with people outside universities. And I have to say, for many of us, many academics, many universities, this was not a natural thing to do. Particularly with the rather older established universities, the so-called research-intensive universities, the top 30 or 40 universities in the UK. this was not a natural inclination. But I think over the last 10 years we've seen a major turnaround. And I think we increasingly look not just to be feeling we're doing something good, not just to fulfill a duty, but because of the real opportunities that come to us through getting much, much more involved with our local community, our regional community, and indeed, of course, these days, in the large global international community that we increasingly work with. So I would say during my academic career, things have turned on their heads. Universities were sort of marble halls, protected, huge amounts of freedom, academic freedom, huge amounts of choice. And now I think we're much more integrated with the world about us. And I think the Newhaven project is just one example of a way in which hopefully we've been useful, and I think you'll probably hear some of that today. But also I'm absolutely certain, and I'm sure Imogen and Susie and colleagues here in our Department of Social Work would say that this has been a really enriching experience for us too, and very good opportunities for students, and I think we're going to see some evidence of that later on. What of course is important, and we all have to work to persuade our government of the day and future governments, is that actually policy-based evidence is not the way forward. We need evidence-based policy. And when you do an initiative of this nature, hopefully you do begin to build the evidence base on which you can create not just policies for physical science, for medicine and biomedicine, but also for the social sciences and for social interventions. And have the evidence to show that what has worked well in one place could be translated to another and could be a good model, even the best model of practice for the future. So I think for us this has been a great experience. I feel a great sense of optimism about the future, and people are already talking about what will happen next and what are the next steps. And also for us, how we could mirror this or reproduce this in other areas with perhaps other partners in the future. Thank you all very much. Have a really good day and enjoy each other. And those of you who don't know each other, make sure you do by the end of the day. Thank you.